Alright. Imagine this, you're coming back to your hometown to attend a close friend's funeral. You mourn, cry, sit, and reflect on all those memories you had with this person, good or bad. I know this seems like a horrible time for you, but hopefully it gets better. You try to piece all those broken parts and overcome the grief as you navigate and suffer from this unimaginable loss. So it does get better, right? Well, no, not at all. Shortly after you walk into the forest with another friend of yours, you hear a loud sound. And what the f*** is that? Oh my god, no, why does that look like my friend? Oh god! This is the story of Summertime Rendering. What starts as a simple tale of people grieving has this dark twist. The ending of the first episode was gruesome, and after watching Ranking of Kings and Spy Family for the past few weeks, I was not used to this bizarre anime. You are most likely confused, as I am, because it took me a while to understand what was going on in the first episode. So let's take a step back and just rewind a bit. The confusing world of Summertime Rendering takes place in the mind of a young Shinpei Ajiro, a high schooler who visits his hometown of a small island. For the first time in 2 years, he visits his once old town after the death of his childhood crush, Ushio. During his visit back to the town where he was raised, he unexpectedly comes across Ushio's sister, Milo. At first, Shinpei faces a very dear part of his life. Like all chapters of a book, he would have to move on to the next part of his story. But he really can't. The more he learns about the truth surrounding Ushio's death, the stranger everything seems to be. So he takes it upon himself to look for an answer. He talks to countless people, visits various places, and begins to formulate different theories about what happened, because he finds out that she was actually murdered. Now this raises several questions. Why was she murdered? What killed her? One question leads to a series of more unanswered questions, but we can see this character struggle with that. Several people close to Shinpei suddenly become suspects in his minds, but much about the situation makes them hard to measure. Not to mention that Ushio herself was acting out of character before the death. So the only logical conclusion you can make is that something a lot darker is clearly happening, and something suspicious is going on. During a walk in the forest, Shinpei and Milo hear a loud boom. A gunshot sound echoed through the forest. They find a woman lying next to a tree, wounded, but soon passes away. Milo tries to call for help, but things get worse. A familiar figure murders your friend, but the strange creature was Milo? What? What the f***? This sounds so confusing, but bear with me. This clone shoots Shinpei in the head. All memories start flashing before his eyes. What were once colorful eyes are now closed. Now he opens his eyes once again, but he is now back on a boat going to the island of his hometown. He looks at the time and it is in the morning of July 22nd, but that's the day he came to this island. But that can't be possible if he died. This can't be the day he visited the island for Ushio's funeral. Still confused, all events play the same, and he concludes that he has gone back in time. What? That's impossible. Numerous anime have used this concept before, with one of the most notable being Re:Zero and Steins. But aside from the apparent difference in the genre, with one focusing on the action while others on mystery, Summertime Rendering offers something a bit different. Rather than this time loop ability helping our main character, this ability seems to be much more detrimental. The knowledge comes with a massive cost, complicating the story even further and exponentially increasing the stakes for Shinpei. Shinpei is trying to tackle this larger-than-life problem, and that's the brutal nature of the world we see. Summertime Rendering is filled with lovable and relatable characters, the calm and collected Shinpei, the cheerful and headstrong Ushio, and numerous other characters act and talk believably. These characters are true to reality except for the shadow creature thingies, obviously. There's always a reason behind everything that the characters say and do. Every small detail matters. Trust me. This is a story that indirectly asks the viewer and readers to pay attention to every piece of information given to you, and with this information you can solve the crime at hand. These characters are a huge reason why the viewers will find themselves caring and rooting for them. We live in a very weird time where we see the most outlandish things on the internet, as well as this. She's talented enough and strong enough to use her weapons to smash a human's head. She's also capable of cracking a pumpkin with her bare hands. God, I wish I was that pumpkin. So, most of the decisions these characters make are pretty reasonable. There's no way you can act normal to a situation like any of this. Like, seriously. You begin to be emotionally invested with these characters, since they're a little bit too real. You slowly start to develop a connection with all these people, just like our main character. You want the best for them, and definitely for Shinpei, and will feel bad when they face unimaginable obstacles. Yes, this character is absolutely annoying, but does it really dilute what the story is about? No. Without a doubt, there will be tons of difficult moments through this series, and you will love it. I feel so immersed in this world. After watching just one episode, a question is answered, but then I have a whole list of just new questions about the stuff I just watched. This is definitely not an annoying experience. It's actually far from that. It's great. Yes, you feel lost again, but that feeling is great. Your mind is perpetually blown, and I love that feeling. Each episode keeps me at the edge of my seat. It's not really predictable, and I have no idea which direction this show will go. Yes, I know there's a manga, but since the anime is out, I'm just gonna stick with the anime. So I'm really sorry to the people that only read the manga. Rarely do you get a show of any kind that represents a feeling you want in a story, but Summertime Rendering manages to do that so well. Just bear with me for a second. Summertime Rendering is trying to make you think. Yosuke Tanaka is the creator of this beautiful story. They force you to be a part of the world that is slowly and surely being peeled apart. Forget everything you think you know about the world. Everything you just discovered will twist into something unknown. Something far from what you used to think. All these characters are scared, crammed into a corner. They can never escape, but they still have to face this enemy, this monster. I think it's essential to understand why something like this works so well, and does not play into many tropes and mistakes that many shows tend to do. Unlike a lot of horror-related media, Summertime Rendering tries not to be shocking for the sake of it. Each event of any magnitude is important to how the story flows. All events, big and small, start to matter more than ever. Everything is important in this world, and I mean everything. As I said before, Summertime Rendering is a very immersive show with a protagonist just as confused as us. Shinpei's behavior when he comes back from getting unalived by some small creature is reasonable and not outlandish. You would probably freak the out. He methodically pieces everything together, yet still feels lost. He did all the things that a detective would do, so why isn't this mystery being solved? What is going on? He tries to develop different strategies to get to the bottom of this mystery, but something always seems to go wrong. You could get lost in just watching the scenery and the world. That is really brutal and horrifically violent. OLM has done a wonderful job animating and illustrating the show to draw out its best parts. The Mystery Island looks positively divine and alien in how it is portrayed, as well animated. The show is vibrant and colorful when it needs to be. However, coupled with a great sound design and an island surrounded by this dark aura, this beautiful, crafted story knows when to make the viewer terrified and forces you to run for your life. Given how this show is about mystery, I can't give a lot of detail away. Every small thing leads to something big. I'm expressing my love for this show, and I can't bring myself to spoil anything for a new viewer or you, because I want you to explore the world of Summertime Rendering just like I did. But when you do watch it and piece all things together, it's rewarding. There's a lot of subtlety and nuance to the repeat showings of the same scenarios. There's a reason for all of it. This show hasn't yet fallen into the trap of too many restarts in a short period of time, and I'm glad it's not taking that route. It's letting things breathe and having the characters earn a lot of shine on their own. There are interesting times in more ways than one, and the story of all these characters is far from finished, and, well, you just have to wait for what's next. A lot of stuff happens very, very fast. I can't do a deep dive on every episode because any small detail I mention can be considered a spoiler. This is a kind of show where you have to go blinded. I have no idea which direction the story will go, and I'm walking into the unknown world that was painstakingly crafted, and I'm here for it. Scripting, recording, and making the YouTube video itself is a very hard task and requires a lot of time, so I thank you all who watched till the end of this video. It means a lot to me, and I wish I could say that more. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you watch my other videos linked in a playlist in the description. Also, if you like short-form content and want me to talk about smaller manga or anime or any kind of media, I highly recommend you follow my TikTok account because I do talk about all that kind of stuff there. And for that, thank you so much once again, and see you next time. Decaf is out.